He's out there, just out there hurting homeless people.
Life on the streets is dangerous to begin with.
It's very scary. You don't know when you go. You don't know when you're going to get attacked.
All hands in. San Diego police racing to catch whoever is targeting one of the most vulnerable populations in the city. The mood on the streets and what investigators know about the string of violent attacks.
It's not all bad just because it looks like that. We're not roaches or ants out here. You know, we're human just like them.
Moving day for a tent city, the reality for people who are trying to survive on San Diego streets and the advocates who are demanding better solutions. KPBS Evening Edition starts now. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Amitha Sharma. New developments tonight in a series of violent attacks on homeless people in San Diego. The city's top cop and the mayor are calling for help from the public. Today, San Diego investigators say their person of interest in the attacks is now a suspect. Our team coverage begins with KPBS reporter Taryn Mento, who joins us from the San Diego Police Headquarters with the latest on the investigation.
Both Faulkner and Zimmerman say that all resources are currently being used to locate the person that has committed 4 attacks since Sunday. Now, police are circulating these flyers with surveillance footage of someone that they considered a person of interest. Now they're actually identifying this person as the suspect. Police homicide captain David Nislight says that these flyers and the public are the key to capturing the assailant.
We want to prevent the next case, but we want to be able to identify this person, locate this person, and then arrest that person.
The attacks began on Sunday when a man's body was found on fire. 2 others occurred Monday morning. 1 was killed. Another person was taken to the hospital with stab wounds. Police now say he's expected to survive. The 4th one occurred this morning when a man was set on fire. He was taken to the hospital and he is now in grave condition. Reporting from downtown San Diego at police headquarters, I'm Taryn Mento for KPBS News.
People who live on the streets are rattled by this series of violent attacks. Our team coverage continues with KPBS reporter Megan Burks, who visited the site of this morning's assault.
Officers responded around 5 a.m. this morning after neighbors in this condo complex near the downtown federal courthouse building reported seeing a man crouched over flames. That ended up being a homeless man who had been assaulted in the same manner as 3 other homeless men over the weekend and then lit on fire. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition. San Diego police say they are absolutely certain this morning's attack is linked to those 3 other attacks Sunday and Monday. It's put downtown San Diego's homeless on edge.
It's wild. It's wild, though. It's bad enough homeless people got live. You know what I mean? We live out here. Rough it is.
41-year-old Richard Stevenson just heard the news from Father Joe's Village's volunteers. A homeless man was violently assaulted and burned this morning, this time less than 2 miles from where Stevenson and hundreds of other homeless men and women lay their heads at night.
Yeah, I'm gonna change my habits. You know, I just got to get some good sleep in the daytime. You know what I mean? And at night, we just got to figure out, you know what I mean, what goes on at night. But the person I sleep next to, he has a dog. And that dog growls, you know what I mean, alert what goes on.
57-year-old John Dumas says he lost his spot in a secure shelter 4 days ago.
It's very scary. You don't know when you go. You don't know when you're going to get attacked. You don't know what's going to happen when you live out here.
I think any homeless services provider wants to add beds right now. We just want to add beds right now. There are limitations to doing that, and so right now for us, we're really examining those limitations to see what is the most that we can do, because we really need to do the most that can be done at this point to speak to this horrifying phenomena that's going on right now.
Ruth Bruland is the chief program officer for Father Joe's. She says the nonprofit is looking for funding and staff to make available 100 beds usually used during bad weather. But she warns hundreds would still be left on the streets.
There needs to be a congregation of people who are homeless that gather together, that congregate, and safety in numbers at this point seems to be what works. And then I want to draw a parallel for those who have houses. There needs to be a congregation that comes together and really thinks about what needs to happen in order to stop things like this from being able to happen in the first place.
Bruland and elected officials today emphasized the need for long-term solutions after what is hopefully a short period of danger. Megan Burks, KPBS News.
Today's attack was near Horton Plaza downtown at State Street and Broadway. We have a map on our website showing where the latest attacks have taken place. It also shows other attacks on homeless people that occurred earlier this year. This map with descriptions of all the incidents is on our website at kpbs.org. City leaders are also asking for the public's help in catching the person behind the violent attacks.
The truth of the matter is living on the streets of any big city is a dangerous thing in and of itself. It just happens to be more dangerous at this moment because we have one person out there who isn't just interested in assaulting homeless people, but in actually killing them.
Councilmember Todd Gloria says San Diego authorities are stepping up efforts to protect homeless people. He says one strategy includes helping them find another place to live.
The quickest way to end homelessness is to give someone a house and to wrap them around with services to keep them housed. Other communities have done this successfully. We can do it here. We are doing some of that, but we need to do a whole lot more before we can declare mission accomplished when it comes to ending homelessness in San Diego.
In the short term, officers and city workers are moving into tent cities. They're moving out hundreds of homeless people who live under tarps and next to shopping carts in the East Village. As KPBS reporter Susan Murphy shows us, they keep coming back.
Police cars roll up on 17th Street east of Petco Park. It's 7 in the morning on a Monday. The sidewalks are a sea of tents. Officers and city workers begin making the homeless pack up and move out.
You had no reason touching your stuff. No reason.
The 160 or so people who live on this street knew the cops were coming. The city posts warning signs days in advance. The sweeps have happened every week for 3 months.
This is where I stay. I'm homeless. I'm on paper as homeless. My people know I'm homeless.
Brother Shine and his fellow homeless neighbors pile their belongings on carts. They balance mattresses and containers on top of their overflowing loads. Some pull pets on leashes. City workers then use shovels and rakes to clear away belongings and trash left behind. The urine and feces that stain the sidewalks and street remain.
I got to clean up every Monday and come right back like I've been doing. It's just a hassle.
The homeless head to the Neil Good Day Center on 17th near K Street. The center operates during daytime hours and is partly funded by the city. It provides bathrooms and has mail and laundry services for people who live on the streets. On Mondays, the center's patio overflows with stuffed carts.
It's not all bad just because it looks like that. We're not roaches or ants out here. You know, we're human just like them.
Stephen Hillard says the center provides a safe spot for a few hours until police and city crews leave.
You go in there, fall asleep, catch up on a lot of things in there.
By late afternoon, the homeless return. They wheel their belongings back and settle in for another week.
What kind of sense is that, my sister? That don't make a lick of sense to Brother Shine. And it don't make a lick of sense to a lot of people, and I know it.
About 1,000 unsheltered people live downtown. The Regional Task Force on the Homeless says the number has gone up 52% in the past 2 years. The increase has occurred at a time when the county's overall homeless population has gone down. 17th Street in the East Village is a popular spot for the homeless. It's near a hub of public transportation, buses and trolleys, and charities that try to help the homeless.
And I goes there to go to sleep, and I goes here to go eat.
Just blocks away is Petco Park, where the All-Star Game will be played next week, and near the Convention Center and Gaslamp Quarter hotels that will host the Comic-Con throngs later this month. Advocates for the homeless say the weekly sweeps are an effort to hide the city's downtown homeless problem before out-of-town tourists arrive. They say that's the same reason jagged rocks suddenly appeared along a freeway underpass in the same area.
cleaning up the area is obviously a good thing, but displacing people week after week after week, when it just comes back again, you would think you would want to try something else rather than deploying a massive amount of city resources and wasting those resources.
Michael McConnell is there every Monday for the sweeps. He says city officials have created bad policies that are making it harder for people to get out of homelessness.
This other ticket, that was for me not waking up.
Brother Shine says falling asleep in the wrong place at the wrong time gets you a ticket. He's gotten 2, both for encroachment and both in the last month. He says they're his first tickets, and he's lived on this street for 10 years. He was also issued a stay-away order.
I talked to an officer about the situation. I asked him, where can I go? He said, I can go to a park, but you can't take your tent.
Others have similar stories.
Last month, I was arrested 3 times, 3 weeks in a row.
And the cops came by and busted a U-turn and came back and gave me a ticket for encroachment. You know, I was asleep on my bucket.
I don't really know where to go to court or anything like that. And I don't know what they expect me to do about it. I don't have a job and I'm not on unemployment, don't have an income. And I don't think they have debtor's prison here, do they?
Police Lieutenant Wes Morris patrols the East Village. He says it's illegal to block a sidewalk or a street, whether it's to sleep there or pitch a tent or park a cart. Morris says officers first give verbal warnings and offer help. If that doesn't work, citations are issued. He says the process isn't new.
Our enforcement, the regularity, our posture, our progressive enforcement that's really stayed the same. It really hasn't changed over the last year. I can't really cite one way or another. It's really pretty much stayed the same.
The regional task force says what's different is more tents and tarps, nearly 70% more than last year. Homeless advocate Michael McConnell says the scene downtown is the result of a broken system.
We know we need more permanent housing, we need more affordable housing, but we also need supportive services to match up with the housing, and we need a better way to connect people up with the resources that are available.
On 17th Street, it's late afternoon, and Brother Shine and his associates, as he calls them, are hunkered down on the sidewalks.
I bless a lot of people around here. I don't ask them for nothing. I'd say when you need anything, come to Brother Shine.
And he knows come next Monday, the police cars will arrive again, and they'll be asked to move along. Susan Murphy, KPBS News.
Video journalists Nick McVicker and Chris Arciaga helped produce that story. The American Civil Liberties Union says the U.S. is deporting foreign-born veterans who should be able to stay here. In a new report documenting 84 cases, the ACLU calls for laws that would allow them to return. KPBS Fronteras reporter Jean Guerrero has the story.
The findings of the report, called Deported Then Discarded, were announced here in front of the Veterans Museum and Memorial Center. The ACLU documents the cases of 84 immigrants who served in the U.S. military and were deported or are facing deportation. The report says these immigrants were eligible to naturalize because of their service, but did not receive clear or accurate information about their eligibility. Almost all of those veterans have families in the U.S. After they were deported, their relatives sometimes struggled with physical and mental illness, including a documented suicide. Family members of deported veterans shared their stories. Stephanie Ribara says her father raised her until he was deported 11 years ago for a minor drug offense. She says her mother was never around.
Why my dad would ever be taken from me after he served our country is mind-blowing to me.
Those deported to Mexico face threats from drug cartels seeking to recruit them because of their military expertise. The ACLU says changes to immigration laws 20 years ago led to thousands of deportations of veterans for minor crimes, such as self-medicating psychological problems that could be traced back to their service.
The brave men and women in our military who have fought our country's wars abroad have now become victims of our nation's war on immigrant communities.
The report makes policy recommendations such as creating a mechanism for deported veterans to return to the U.S., while also making it easier for immigrant veterans to naturalize. Congressman Juan Vargas is introducing a deported veterans bills package that would start a tracking system for immigrant veterans and more. From Balboa Park, Jean Guerrero for KPBS News.
President Obama is delaying the drawdown of U.S. troops in Afghanistan. He announced today he's keeping 8,400 troops in the country. That's more than the 5,500 he had promised would remain by year's end. Obama said the higher levels are needed because Afghan security forces are still not as strong as they need to be. And he said he doesn't want Afghanistan to be used as a safe haven by the Taliban for terrorist attacks against the U.S.
The Taliban remains a threat. They've gained ground in some cases. They've continued attacks and suicide bombings, including in Kabul. Because the Taliban deliberately target innocent civilians, more Afghan men, women, and children are dying.
In 2011, Obama had promised to withdraw all combat troops from Afghanistan by the end of 2012. The deadline has been repeatedly delayed because of that country's security situation. The San Diego County Medical Examiner has ruled the drowning death of a Navy SEAL trainee was a homicide. The sailor died during a pool exercise while training in May. KPBS reporter Steve Walsh explains what led to this ruling.
21-year-old James Lovelace drowned during an intense exercise at Naval Amphibious Base Coronado. The SEAL training requires candidates to tread water in fatigues and boots with their masks filled with water. The medical examiner reviewed a videotape which shows an instructor is seen dunking Lovelace under the water and then follows him around the pool for approximately 5 minutes. He continually splashes the trainee, dunks him at least one more time. Eventually, someone else in the water is seen pulling Lovelace up and away from the instructor. Someone even reportedly considers calling a timeout to stop the exercise. According to the naval records, Lovelace is not a strong swimmer. Ruling it a homicide, the medical examiner said the instructor's actions or inactions led to the trainee's death. A spokesman for the Navy said the service continues to investigate whether to bring criminal charges. A day after the death, the Navy paused the SEAL training at Coronado. The instructor has been assigned to administrative duties during the investigation. A separate Navy investigation focuses in on safety. In May, the Virginian pilot uncovered Navy records showing that 4 other SEAL candidates lost consciousness during the same training exercise in the months before Lovelace's death. Steve Walsh, KPBS News.
More than 4,000 California firefighters continue to battle a dozen active fires in the state. Cooler temperatures this week have helped ease the fires, but officials say so far this fire season has still proven to be very challenging.
It's been very, very challenging. We've had a lot of firefighters already out on the line working lots of extra days and lots of extra hours. So already starting up this quickly, this early in the season, it's going to be a challenge, but we're going to do our best to get our firefighters rest when we do have these breaks.
There are currently no active wildfires in the San Diego area. For more wildfire updates, go to readywildfire.org. There are currently no active wildfires, as we just said. For more wildfire updates, go to readywildfire.org. Mostly sunny and breezy weather today. Heather Waldman says the weather will remain mild along the coast, but very hot in desert areas this week. That's tonight on the KPBS Weather Report.
Well, the clouds from this morning slowly cleared out this afternoon. We'll continue to see that pattern as we go through the rest of this week. So, hey, pretty typical summer weather. Satellite across the entire region, not showing any areas of disturbed weathers across the deserts. The monsoonal moisture has shut off at least briefly. Clouds will once again increase tonight for the San Diego metro area. Temperatures should stay in the middle 60s. You can expect the clouds to fill in along the entire coast from Oceanside down towards Chula Vista. Temperatures will stay in the 60s near the water. Looking at 50s in Ramona and Alpine, 48 degrees in Mount Laguna, 73 in Mecca. So the desert's staying on the warm side for the next few days, although it's seasonable heat. That's what we're talking about here. There's our area of high pressure. It was across northern Utah earlier this week, helping to pump in more of that moisture. Now that it's off to the south, we're seeing the moisture a little bit more suppressed. So it's dry from Phoenix out towards LA. That cool ocean flow will keep temperatures in the 70s in San Diego. Inland, looking at more 90s and triple digits. Again, pretty typical. As we go through this weekend, same setup. Weak little area of high pressure off to the south of Phoenix. Big dip in the jet stream will allow for some cooler air off to our north. Not really going to see many of the effects from that, though. Here's that 5-day for the coast. Temperatures will be in the middle 70s. Thursday through Monday. Again, each day starting off with those low clouds, and then we'll slowly start to see more sunshine. Keep in mind, some afternoons, if that marine layer is a bit thicker, it'll take a little bit more time for that sunshine to reappear. Temperatures will be in the lower 60s each night. Inland, temperatures pretty similar. The difference, of course, we'll see sunshine earlier, and in some cases, maybe not that much in the way of cloud cover at all. Temperatures in the mid-70s each afternoon, looking at low to mid-60s each night. Into the mountains, temperatures not a whole lot warmer, upper 70s to low 80s. Certainly nice if you're looking to go for a hike or just passing through on the roads. Shouldn't see any problems there. Lots of sunshine all the way through this weekend and into early next week as well. Temperatures overnight will be in the lower 50s Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Bit cooler there Sunday and Monday. But once again, certainly not bad. Just dress in layers and you'll be well prepared. The desert, more of that typical heat. Triple digits expected throughout the entire region. We'll see highs peak around 106 on Friday and then kind of taper off a little bit Sunday into Monday. Again, that humidity stays low without that monsoonal moisture, so pretty comfortable, especially in the mid-morning, late evening hours. You want to avoid those peak daytime hours, though, and avoid that bright sunshine. I'm Heather Waldman for KPBS News.
The California Water Resources Control Board today says Californians cut water use by 28% in the final month of mandatory statewide conservation. The May 2016 savings compares to use in May 2013. Regulations that started June 1st require local water suppliers to calculate conservation standards for their customers. Under a state stress test, agencies have to prove they have sufficient supplies to meet customer demand if there are 3 consecutive years of drought. California is in the 5th straight year of drought.
Long time coming, but I know a change gonna come.
People have been paying their respects outside a Louisiana convenience store where a black Baton Rouge man was shot and killed by police. The 2 officers involved are on administrative leave, and the U.S. Justice Department is investigating whether the officers willfully violated Alton Sterling's civil rights through the use of unreasonable or excessive force. Attorney General Loretta Lynch says the Hillary Clinton email investigation is being closed without any criminal charges. The Justice Department decision comes one day after FBI Director James Comey recommended against prosecution. The decision was largely a formality given Comey's public statement on the case. Lynch said last week that she would accept whatever recommendations and findings were presented by the FBI. A lawsuit alleges that California's workers' comp rules are biased against women. The suit contends that a woman with carpal tunnel syndrome got fewer benefits because her sex and age were viewed as risk factors. The workers' compensation system is accused of violating federal and state anti-discrimination laws, as well as equal opportunity rights for women. A month after California voters went to the polls, about 70,000 ballots remain uncounted. Ballot counting takes a long time because California allows vote-by-mail ballots to arrive after Election Day, and voters not on the rolls can cast provisional ballots. Counties have until the end of the week to finish their counts. The California Secretary of State will officially certify the results of the election next week, even though the winners have been informally known for some time. How you use the information is up to you, but as part of the City of San Diego's effort to increase transparency, 44 sets of data were placed on the city's website for use by app developers, software engineers, and the public. If street sweeping schedules, water quality tests, or average daily vehicle counts on roadways over the past dozen years can be of use to you, it's available at data.sandiego.gov. More data sets are scheduled to be released in the coming months. A recent study suggests a chemical compound found in marijuana could be helpful in warding off Alzheimer's disease, but a lot more research is needed. KPBS science reporter David Wagner explains why a San Diego scientist is worried that it may not happen.
The inflammation and plaque buildup that precede the onset of Alzheimer's were reduced when a team of San Diego scientists exposed human brain cells to THC in lab experiments. The researchers recently published these findings, Senior author Dave Schubert of the Salk Institute says the results are promising, but they need to be confirmed in future studies in animals and humans. He says that won't be easy because the Drug Enforcement Administration considers marijuana to be a highly dangerous drug with no medical use.
To work on anything related to marijuana or these psychoactive drugs in the United States from a scientific point of view is extremely difficult because there's so many rules and limitations on what can be done.
Schubert hopes the DEA will reclassify marijuana when they take up the issue next month. He says that would make it easier for labs like his to study the drug's medical potential. David Wagner, KPBS News.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next News Hour, patients and researchers push for new clinical trials to assess the benefits and risks of medical marijuana. That's Wednesday on the PBS News Hour.
The roster is finally out, and it looks like 2 San Diegans and a Padres player will take part in this year's All-Star game at Petco Park. Former University of San Diego baseball star and current Chicago Cubs player Chris Bryant will start at third base. Steven Strasburg, the Santee native who played his college ball at San Diego State, will represent the Washington Nationals. And first baseman Will Myers will be representing the Padres. The 87th MLB All-Star game is set for next Tuesday. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thank you for joining us and have a great evening.